Thank you. When the racer comes second at Surf Ontario.
This is the Irish Grand National Day.
Win only, Euro Sterling on the National.
It's one of the highlights of the racing calendar. But this year, the mood at the track is far from festive.
There, lads and ladies, on the first event of the day.
Lemon hope and die in despair.
Yes, sir.
I'm enough to keep the thing going on today, but I don't know what way tomorrow's going to work out.
11. 11 each way.
While money is still changing hands, there are signs everywhere that the economic crisis is biting.
It is. It's quiet. Everything's quiet.
But very quiet? How much has it dropped, do you think?
I suppose it's down about 40% anyway from one last year. Yeah.
On the doubles, this race on the third. 5 to the field.
It seems it's not the odds on punters' minds, but another set of figures. Property prices.
Homes have gone down an awful lot in prices.
Do you know what percentage they've gone down?
Well, I mean, you're talking about 250, a £400,000 house you buy for 250 at least.
Tim Crow is a dairy farmer from Tipperary. He's worried about how long he and his countrymen will be in work. Is unemployment very high?
I'd say it's going to rise a lot more. It's rising every week. Every week, yes.
Do you know what it is?
They're talking about 400,000 people shortly.
400,000 people out of what, 5 million?
Out of 4.5 million.
4.5 million.
Yeah, it's a lot of people and it's rising.
How to use the mouse and click and pull things and do some...
Neil O'Harcorn is one of those newly unemployed.
These are our resident computer experts.
Are they trained by father, are they?
No, these are self-trained.
Are they?
Yeah, absolutely.
You haven't designed any chips for them?
No, they'll be teaching Daddy how to design chips in a couple of years.
They'll be working in the business. As an electronics engineer, he was at the forefront of Ireland's changing face during the Celtic Tigers boom years.
Can I press that?
In fact, things were going so well, he started his own firm. He had 10 employees, designing computer chips for foreign companies.
Things looked very good. We had quite a good amount of business. We had some quite good contracts. We had good visibility.
But back in August last year, when the crisis began, his clients suddenly started cancelling meetings and business trips.
And that was a terrible feeling. And then when you have an unexpectedly scheduled call with the management of the company, and you say, oh my goodness, what is this? And unfortunately, our worst fears came true. And that was a terrible, terrible time. So to be letting people go, and in particular people who were friends, was very, very difficult.
What's happened to those people now?
So those people have, on the whole, over the last 6 months, people have had very little work.
Are you hungry, Hifa? Yeah, that was very, very tough. He found it very hard to let people go.
How did you cope with that?
To be honest, at the end, it was me who was nearly pushing him to say, well, you have to let them go. Because he hadn't been, hadn't paid himself for over a year. And, I was only working part-time with 4 kids. So in the end, we didn't really have a choice. So. Who's hungry for their dinner?
The O'Harcorns are now struggling to make ends meet. Having bought a house near the top of the property boom, they have a large mortgage. They even considered migrating before Carmel managed to find more work in marketing.
I'm working full-time at the moment, but if anything ever happens to my job, I've already a plan of, doing after-school care for children and camps during the summer, or cookery courses or something with kids. People always need somebody good to mind their kids, so I'd be happy to do that.
Did you see this coming?
Did I see it coming? No, and I don't think anybody really saw it coming.
This is a new situation for Irish people. We have had a couple of generations who've only experienced good times. Going through a recession and an economic cycle is not something they've been exposed to before, so they're having to get used to that.
Pat McCardle is chief economist for one of Ireland's big four banks. He believes many more people will soon be unemployed.
And indeed, we forecast that it will continue growing up to at least 15%.
Of unemployment?
Yes.
Job losses are happening all over the country. In January, the city of Limerick was shocked to hear that its largest business was sacking nearly 2,000 workers.
There's an awful lot of families inside there and they're going to be devastated for the next 12 months. Devastated.
How bad is this for Limerick City then?
It's unreal. It's just unreal.
As Ireland boomed, its workers had become too expensive, and Dole was moving its operations to Poland.
I feel very, very bitter about the way that Dell has treated the people in this region.
From his office, the Mayor of Limerick, John Gilligan, has watched the knock-on effects of Dell's decision unfold. He estimates up to 10,000 jobs will ultimately be lost in a city of just 100,000.
In my own family, I have one daughter who went redundant about 3 months ago, maybe a little bit longer. I have another daughter who went redundant last month, and her husband, who worked in Dell, also was made redundant, all within a month. This is the biggest thing that ever happened to us. This is a catastrophe on a scale not seen before. This is equivalent, to a nuclear attack on the Midwest region.
Among the employees getting the bad news in January was Eamon Ryan.
This is a very, very poor severance settlement offer.
I caught up with Eamon in his local pub to see how he was coping 3 months on. He's still working for Dell, but his days are numbered.
Maybe at current rates of progress, I might end up working in my 80s pushing trolleys around the supermarket car park. It's happening in other parts of the world and I can't see why it's not going to happen in Ireland.
Like many people in Ireland, Eamon is angry with the government for allowing the economic bubble to grow so large.
The gross mismanagement of our economy by a totally incompetent government added to the global downturn, which is making us have ending up in a much worse position than a lot of other countries. And now we're going to be unemployed on top of that.
There's a widespread perception that the government don't want to go hard on the banks because the banks were heavily indebted to property developers. Property developers were the major supporters of the major party of government. So there's a perception of a cosy cartel, of crony capitalism.
Brian Lucy teaches finance at Dublin's Trinity College. He believes there's plenty of blame to go around.
So for the last 5 years, up until last year, we borrowed lots of money from international markets and we thought we could get rich by basically selling houses to ourselves. That stopped once the international credit crunch happened and once the property boom here, the property bubble in fact, burst. So who's to blame? We're all to blame.
The construction industry has now come to a standstill. Credit is scarce and Ireland's trading partners are in recession.
It's that triple whammy that has led the Irish economy to experience a contraction in growth this year, which will probably be the highest in the developed world, of the order of 8%, possibly even slightly higher.
Compounding Ireland's woes are the government's own budget problems. Unlike in Australia, there are no stimulus packages on offer.
And even the government in Ireland, instead of stoking the economy as it's doing in the United Kingdom and the United States, because we have a rather large deficit, they've had to introduce emergency measures to cut back and to raise taxes.
As a result, dole queues are now lengthening all over Ireland. And as the crisis deepens, charities are hearing from more and more desperate people.
We have people phoning up who are on the brink of ending their lives because they see no hope. The house is going to be repossessed, their car is being repossessed, they're losing their jobs, they've got serious financial worries. And there's tremendous marital strain and that great sense of failure. We've had some very prominent businessmen here in Ireland have died in recent months.
Suicide?
Yes, through suicide.
Because of the
because of the economic climate, and especially those in the construction industry where their businesses have collapsed.
I suppose at the end of the day, this is what it's all about, isn't it?
This is what it's all about, absolutely. 4 healthy kids. Growing, changing, almost by the day.
Despite the hardships, Neil O'Harcorn is trying his best to be positive.
Whoa! Catch!
All the forecasts are for a few grim years ahead.
Should be playing for Australia.
But he's holding on to the hope that one day soon the good times will be back.
I'm confident that, you know, as the world begins to recover, that businesses here will also play a role in that. And from a personal perspective, I'll be able to get back doing what I do best.